हरे कृष्ण।
नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय गौरांगिताय गौरांगिताय गौरांगिताय, जय गौरांगिताय, जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद, जय जय प्रभुपाद निताय गौर। हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि बोल। हरि नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय, शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। Will sing the Mangalacharan for invocation of divine blessings. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामीनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे, निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। Welcome to today's, which is I think it is fifth session of our life's amazing secrets. I hope I am audible and visible, and we are able to communicate very clearly.
Yes, Ravi.
Okay. So today's session, I think up to now we have covered a significant part of the secrets which we want to share in this seminar series, Life's Amazing Secrets. We have up to now covered the topic related to science of soul, which is fundamental understanding in spiritual reality or spiritual science. These life's amazing secrets, as we have already pointed out or we have discussed, you must have become aware up to this junction of time or this fifth presentation that these secrets are not the secrets related to you know earning money if we have money problem, or earning some physical health if we have physical health problems. For these there are different kind of platforms. For health we can go to a doctor. uh, of course, if somebody believes in allopathy, he can go to allopathy. Somebody believes in Ayurveda, homeopathy, they can go in those directions for curing their bodily diseases. Or for money matters, one can, follow, the general, business, economics, and the experts in in those directions. Or for your physical relationship management and all, there are counselors for psychological disturbances. Also, there are nowadays counselors and medications. But life's amazing secret, this seminar series, it is actually going to the depth of our existence. It is going deep into the realities of our living as a human being, and they are more, from the point of view of our spiritual existence. They are very important. When we become very serious about spiritual life, actually we come to understand that this is the root solution to all problems, superficial problems. So last session, I think you must have discussed, Jai Narahari Prabhu must have discussed about the problems of life and their solution, which is essentially given by Vedic literature or Vedic knowledge. So can somebody give me some feedback about the last session, where it was, what topic was covered, what topics were covered in that session? Anyone? Or shall I ask in this mode that whether this is covered, this was covered? I think Vedas, how they give us a solution on deep-rooted problems of our life, like birth, old age, disease, death, adhyatmik, adhibhautik, adhidaivik klesh. I think that was the topic last time. Is it so?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, okay, thank you. So last time there was all discussions on problems and problems. Probably we have seen that sometimes when we discuss so much about problems, the audience sometimes becomes so disturbed that they disappear in the next session. But actually, the next session is obviously solution. Although we have discussed so many problems, it is not kind of pessimistic way of looking at things. It is really speaking a very optimistic way of seeing the things. It's not that when we discuss about the seriousness of birth, seriousness of old age, seriousness of diseases, and seriousness of death, and besides that, the three other problems, the problems arising out of our own body, our own mind, our own intelligence, our own egoistic conception and living, and the problems related to others, other living beings who are disturbing us, who are kind of, because of them we are in some trouble. Because of them, sometimes we have to face severe consequences. Uh, and sufferings ultimately. And the third one is the higher powers, like nature's power of too much of rain, too much of cold, too much of heat. All these are real problems, because as it was put up, probably real problem means the problem is common to all. The problem nobody wants, but everybody has to face that problem, and nobody can avoid it, and everybody wants a solution. But they, in modern civilization, we kind of trust this education system or modern material science so much that we do not think that there is a solution to such big problems. In fact, we are according to Bhagavad Gita philosophy, we are only focusing on a very small portion of knowledge or a small portion of problems in life, and then we think that our focus becomes so narrow, we become so narrow minded, that we lose a sight of solution to very huge significant problems like what were discussed in the last session. So these problems need a solution, and in fact Vedic way of living, Vedic lifestyle, and Vedic goal of life for a living being, especially human being. The goal of life is discussed to be coming out of these problems. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Dukkhaihi, Vimukto Amrutam Ashnute. Means one must solve the problems of birth, old age, disease, and death. Vimukto means one must be liberated, one must be free from these problems. And human consciousness is having such a power. A human being can actually come out of these issues. And these issues, if we see, they are root level issues. They are the source of all other issues. So if we go on finding causes of our problems, and we go to the deepest, most root level cause, then we come to these seven problems: birth, old age, disease, death, and adhyatmik, adhibhautik, adhidaivik klesh. So they are superset or the root of all our problems. And when we remove the problems from the root, then the problem is removed forever. जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्यु ध्रुवम जन्म मृतस्य च तस्माद् अपरिहार्येऽर्थे न त्वं शोचितुम् अर्हसि. Krishna says this in Bhagavad Gita. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu. One who has taken birth, it is sure that he will die. And if somebody has died, that means that it is sure that he will take birth again. So birth and death, this cycle is explained in this particular verse. But it is also said that one who is taking birth, who has taken birth, he is sure to die. And one who has died is sure to take birth again. So it's an infinite loop. How do you solve this issue? If we say that Vedas, Vedic knowledge, gives us a solution to the problem of birth and death, but if we take it as a cycle of birth and death, as explained by Bhagavad Gita itself, we see that it's a kind of infinite loop. But at the same time, Bhagavad Gita is giving us solution. It is saying that Janma Mrityu Jara Dukkhaihi Vimukto. Vimukto means one can get liberated. Vimukto Amrutam Ashnute. Amrutam means Amrita. Mrita means death. Amrita means deathlessness. One can obtain deathlessness by freeing himself from the cycle of birth, old age, disease, and death. So Bhagavad Gita has this secret, and this secret therefore is called as secret of all secrets, because it is going to solve the problem of everything. It's the key, or it's the solution to all problems. Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyakshavagamanam Susukham Kartum Avyayam. Rajavidya means king of all knowledge, and Rajaguhyam means secret of all secrets. So it's a secret, although Bhagavad Gita is available, and so many people quote from Bhagavad Gita, so many people, kind of know Bhagavad Gita, they at least show that they know Bhagavad Gita. But how many of them actually can access that depth of knowledge? That is today's topic. The connection to spiritual power, how we can obtain connection to spiritual power. Why? Because now we know that there is a spiritual existence. We know from science of soul that we are actually spirit soul, and we are encaged in this material body. And this material body is source of all unhappiness. It's source of birth, old age, disease, death, and adhyatmik, adhibhautik, and adhidaivik klesh. So all these problems are related to body, whether it is gross body or a subtle body. We know from science of soul that there are two kinds of bodies. One is gross body, the other one is subtle body. Gross body consists of 5 gross elements, and subtle body consists of 3 subtle elements. Earth, water, air, fire, ether, gross body. Mind, intelligence, false ego is subtle body. And the soul is entrapped in these two bodies. And as long as soul is entrapped in this cage of birth, old age, disease, and death, it can never become happy. So how do you become happy? By connecting to our spiritual existence, connecting to our spiritual power, connecting to spirit within. We are so much connected to our body. During that Science of Soul session, in presentation, we saw that there was a old lady, if you remember, old lady polishing the cage, and there was a parrot which was there within the cage. So the parrot seemed to be dying. Parrot seemed to be, ऐसा मुंडी डाल के वो पड़ा हुआ है. So parrot is dying, and the lady is only decorating the outside cage. She is completely absorbed in decorating the cage, golden cage it was shown, and this parrot within, that is suffering. Similarly, in this material world, we are so much absorbed in our bodily existence. We simply go on taking care of external gross body, or at most subtle requirements. We are lost in serving bodily existence of our relatives, our family, friends, our whole society. So we are lost in a way in gross body, and we are only able to live in relationship with our gross body. We have lost actually the connection with our spirit soul. That's what is signified. Our spirit soul is experiencing death. It's experiencing the miseries of birth, old age, disease, death. But it wants freedom. It wants happiness. It wants unlimited freedom. It doesn't want these birth, old age, disease, death. But they are enforced on us. So how do we disconnect ourselves from this false identity, or how do we connect to our spiritual existence or spiritual power? That is the so let me is it visible?
Yes,
Okay, it is visible full screen.
yes,
Okay, fine, fine, fine. So let us see connecting to spiritual power. So before we go into this session, actually, incidentally, it is also a session which is very close to Discover Yourself seminar series, session 5. So there we refer to it as substance and shadow. But here again, according to our topic today, we will refer to this as spiritual power and shadow. So we are wanting to connect to spiritual power, but somehow or the other, we are living in a shadowy existence. So we will try to understand what is meant by this shadowy existence and actually spirit. Here there is a table which actually speaks of particularly 5 points. It is a comparison between our living as a shadow living and our living as a substance living or spiritual living. So when we say I want to connect to spiritual power, isn't it, we when we seek a spiritual life, we actually kind of assume that we will be seeing something different, we will have some divine vision, we'll have some divine experience, we'll have some divine connection with some higher power. So that kind of understanding actually is expectation from our spiritual life. So here we want to define what is exactly this shadow and what is spirit. Sometimes shadow, we know that it's existing because there is a light source somewhere, and there is a hindrance to the light source, and there is a reflection or shadow. So similarly here, if we see, shadow means material body, and substance on the other hand is spirit soul. So now we when we define shadow as material body, we can see that we are very much connected and experiencing all the experiences related to material body in this world. I am able to realize or understand my material body very nicely. I understand in a way that I am this body. I understand that I need to eat, I need to breathe, I need to take water for my existence. So I'm absorbed in my material body demands or material body condition. But what spiritual connection means or substance means is I am not this material body, but I am a spirit soul. So how do I understand or connect to my spirit soul? I relate to my body by looking at my body through eyes. I connect to my body by eating something and satisfying the tongue or my belly. I connect to my body's organs by different objects of senses which would satisfy those organs. I want something soft to touch, I want something very soothing to drink, I want some good music for my ears. So in that way I am connecting to my material body as myself. I am absorbed in that thought process. But connecting to spiritual life means connecting, seeing oneself as a spirit soul, seeing oneself clearly as some spiritual energy explained as spirit soul, but I don't have any conception, I'm not able to connect to that spirit soul existence of myself. Material happiness I can experience. I get some happiness when I eat something, when I see something I become happy, when I hug my friends I become happy, when I meet some special people I become happy, when I hear some music I become happy. These are called material happiness, which are again in the shadow category. But what is spiritual happiness, substance happiness? Then what is material world? We know what is this world, but the scriptures or Vedic literature also refer to some world called as spiritual world. Does such world really exist? Is it a place like the place here, Pune is a place, or India is a place, on this in this universe earth is a place? Similarly, is there a place, factual place called a spiritual world, or is it just an imagination? We'll see that. material relationships we can understand. Sometimes we are so much disturbed if our relationship is not proper, if our wife doesn't understand us, she doesn't give the required relation reciprocation, or sometimes if husband is not properly treating me, or my mother father are not treating me nicely, or my son daughter are not treating me nicely, or so many relationships in office or in our day to day life, if there is a problem in relationships, then we feel so much disturbed. When relationships are going on very smoothly, then we kind of feel a happiness. So these material relationships are also related to our happiness and distress in this world. So these relationships we are able to experience. But what are the relationships which can be called spiritual relationships? Are there such relationships, or spiritual world is simply void? There is nobody in the spiritual relationship. So we'll see what is spiritual relationship. We'll see material life in general, what is material way of living, that we already know what is material way of living. We know about our life. We see the society, we see the people around us, we see the conceptions of life that are present in the society today, and we know in general what is today's life, that is called material life. But is there a spiritual life where there are spiritual conceptions, where there are spiritual ways of looking at things, spiritual way of looking at everything, and living in a very spiritual kind of way? So connecting to spiritual power means the table shows right side substance, that is called connection to spiritual power. Having all realizations related to these five topics as far as spirituality is concerned, this experience or direct realization of these facts very scientifically, very just the way we experience our material body, we experience material happiness, we experience material world, we experience relationships, we experience life in general in material sphere. Can we connect to a spiritual power so that we experience all these in spiritual sphere? That is discussion. That is what we want to present today. So material body versus spirit soul, we will try to explain or understand. This analogy of car was explained in fact in previous sessions of science of soul. There we explained how just like a car is driven by a driver, soul is driving this human body or any body. Just like the car has a steering wheel and clutch and accelerator or a brake, or headlights, it has a radiator. Similarly, our material body has different organs, and we are using that material body to drive to our destination. Just like we drive a car, soul actually sits in this material body, and it is actually driving this material body. So material body is the car in that analogy, and the driver is called as a spirit, or the driver is soul. Similarly, within our body, we are spirit souls who are driving this material body. So this distinction is quite clear. Material body and spirit soul, the differences we have to understand very clearly. Material body, as it was brought out there also, it is dead matter. It is temporary, it stays there for some times and then it goes off, it dies. Spirit soul is permanent. So I am permanent. When we understand I am permanent, then we actually really understand that I am spirit soul. Actually, when we realize that I am spirit soul, then we kind of forget that I am this body and I am temporary. We actually experience that I am not temporary, I am permanent. Material body is filled with stool, vomit, and blood and pus, and material body is consisting of bones and marrow, and all of this whole bag of material is called as this material body. This material body is consisting of such matter, but spirit soul is made up of Satchit Ananda, eternity, knowledge, and happiness. We saw this. Material body is skin deep, illusory beauty. It's not actual existence. It's just an illusory body. But soul and God have true body, true beauty. So actually we are soul who is very beautiful. Material body is not as beautiful as spiritual body. It is in fact a very bad imitation of spiritual body. We know Krishna also says this in Bhagavad Gita, among subduers, I am the time. So everybody becomes old. That we have to understand. Everybody, body means body. Everybody becomes old. Everybody, when we say the spelling is same, body. Everybody becomes old. Even very beautiful ladies, we see that, sometimes a beauty queen of her young age, she also becomes so ugly. Her body becomes so ugly in the course of time. Everything becomes dried up, whether it is our youth or it is our in this material world. We see, when we see a tree, the leaves of the tree, they become old and they fall down, they become yellow from green color. And sometimes the tree itself falls down. These grapes becomes raisins, the example is given. So this beauty of body is not permanent. So our absorption in this bodily beauty actually takes our attention from soul to the material body. From temporary, we want to go to spiritual experience or permanent experience, but we are absorbed in temporary. That's why we are not able to experience the permanent. There is this story which is very instructive. There was a very beautiful queen, and she was not queen, she was a princely lady, maybe daughter of a king. She was very beautiful looking, and then there was a very rich man who was पूरा लट्टू हो गया इसके ब्यूटी पे. He was very very attracted to this lady, beautiful lady, and then he proposed that lady to marry him. So this lady, she was very intelligent. She was beautiful as well as intelligent. So she said that she could see that this man is simply lusty, and he's just attracted to my external beauty. So let us test him. So what she did, she said, okay, I will accept your proposal, but I will accept it after 15 days. You please come after 15 days, then we will discuss. So then that man went away. This lady, she actually took purgatives, some medicines by which she had a lot of upset stomach, and she vomited, she passed all stool, and she was completely, within 15 days, she turned out to be very weak and started looking very, very diseased and ugly. And all her stool and vomit, she kept into vessels. Abominable, that substance, she kept into vessels. And when after 15 days this man came and saw this old looking lady, very diseased lady, he asked, where is that beautiful woman that she was here and I wanted to meet her? So she said that that beautiful woman, she is there in those vessels. You go and check, she's there in that vessel. So that man went to the vessel and saw the obnoxious stool and vomit, and he was totally disgusted with that. And he said, how come this can be a beautiful lady, beautiful woman? So this lady then told this lusty man that all that beauty that you saw, that beautiful woman, was me only. And now you see, the beauty is separated from me. I have separated the beauty in those vessels. And you see what is that beauty ultimately. So this is a very instructive story where we can understand that when we are mesmerized by this external material world and material beauty, we actually neglect the spiritual substance for that beauty. We are lost in material world, material beauty of people, material beauty of the things around us. It is so-called beauty, it is going to finish after a certain time. So therefore, our material existence actually is not the place where we repose our inner need of seeing beautiful things or enjoying beauty. Beauty is not in the material body, but just a bag of bones, flesh, blood, urine, and stool. Beauty is in the spirit soul, a part and parcel of Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is what we should learn. And material body, this whole story is told in order to understand that we lose so much of our time in bodily maintenance, in bodily, limbs, and giving attention, cleaning the body, providing the body everything. But ultimately, the harsh reality is that the dead body looks very ugly. Whether it is a body of a very beautiful woman or a man or a very beautiful animal, when death happens, when the spirit soul leaves the so-called beautiful body, then there is no beauty, whether it is our relative, wife, husband, whether it is a cinema star or anybody. So therefore, we have to trace out our spiritual beauty, spiritual existence. In fact, I think maybe last time this is covered, I don't know. The soul, where does it come from actually? Where does it stay? Where is its location? We actually come from a spiritual world. The spiritual world we will discuss later on. But the spirit soul exists in spiritual reality. And in this world, due to envy of Supreme Lord, we have come in this prison house. And how do we understand that we are in a prison house? We originally were from a spiritual world, but we fall down. There are millions. This Katha Upanishad says, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadhati Kaman. There is a supreme person called as God who is origin of everybody. And he is the one amongst millions and trillions of living entities who is supplying all the necessities of life to the soul. That soul, actually we are that part and parcel soul coming from spiritual world to material world. So what is the sign that we have come, we are from material, we are from spiritual world? Actually the soul comes, and when it resides in this material body, this material body is compared to a dress which is given to a person in this world, a mortal person. This material body made up of flesh, bones, and all that 5 gross elements. This is a cage in which the soul is entrapped. So soul, when it is having this material body, it is struggling or suffering in this material world. Just like in a jail, the jail inmates, the जो कैदी रहते हैं, कैदियों को एक पोशाक दिया जाता है. There is a special dress for one who is who is punished in the jail. Similarly, a soul, for him, this dress of material body is a kind of a dress of gel. So we are living in a material jail, material world. We are spirit souls, but we are encaged in the material body. Encaged. Cage means prison house kind of thing. We keep animals in a cage, or that parrot was kept in a cage. Similarly, the spirit soul is kept in this material body. So we have to separate our, material body conception. We have to understand that we are not this material body, but the spirit soul within. And when we become attracted to this material world, glittering illusion of false beauty and objects of this world, we are pulled down into the material world from spiritual world. We can see in this picture, there is a spiritual world from which the soul gradually drags him down, getting attracted to impermanent material body. Since we are attracted to material body, we are given a material body. God gives Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahudam Yo Vidadhati Kaman. Kama means lust. So we become lusty. We want. We can see in this picture that there are ropes by which the spirit soul is dragged in the material world. And in blue color, on the left side there is lust. On right side there is anger, and there is envy, ignorance, pride, illusion, all of these actually bind the spirit soul into a material body. So as long as we want to become lusty, we want to become angry, we want to become envious, we want to become ignorant, we want to take help of greed, we want to take shelter of these anarthas, which are not to be there in our spiritual world. As long as we are attracted to these, we will be put into material bodies. So lust, greed, anger, envy, these are false pride, illusion. These are attachments that we carry, and because of these attachments we get drifted or we get dragged down into the material body. So when we want to connect to spiritual world, you can see that there is a saintly person who is showing way towards spiritual world. These seminars which we are arranging actually, these are kind of ways by which we can show that there actually a spiritual world exists, and we want to promote spirituality. We want to stop this fall down of living entity into the material body, and we want to show them the way towards spiritual life, connecting to spiritual power. So we want to connect to our soul, spiritual power. Then we want, first thing is we should understand that we are not this temporary material body, and these are the these lust, greed, anger, etc. These are the anarthas which will drag us down, and we want to get rid of these anarthas. Then we can connect to spiritual power. So when we leave our expectation of fulfilling our lusty desires, when we leave our greed, when we leave anger, when we leave ignorance of thinking that I am this material body, with knowledge we destroy our false prestige, false pride, ego, then we can become free gradually, because these are the ropes which are dragging the living entity into material body. So just like in jail, there is a jailer, there is some food, medicine, checked shirt, whips, release. This material existence now, it is compared to a jail here. So in jail we can see that this jail is like kind of material world, and jail keeper is Maya Devi, the energy of Lord Durga. Durga means in Sanskrit, Durga means kila, fort. So this Maya Devi or Durga Devi is jailer of this fort. From this prison house, this fort kind of prison house, nobody can just like that get released, because the jailer is keeping an eye, and he has all technology to prevent these jail inmates who are getting punished inside jail. They cannot go out just like that easily. So jail keeper Maya Devi makes sure, Durga Devi makes sure that the living beings who are envious, angry, greedy, all these anarthas, they are like, they are like criminals in the jail. So these criminals are kept in the jail. Maya Devi makes sure that. And there is some food in jail. Similarly, we also eat food for body. Medicines are there. We have medicines here also, but they are medicines of jail. Checked shirt is kind of body that we have. It is like a checked shirt that is given to the criminals in the prison house. Whips are the birth, old age, disease, death, adhidaivik, adhyatmik, adhidaivik, klesh. In fact, the trident or trishul in the hands of Durga Devi signifies adhyatmik, adhibhautik, adhidaivik, klesh. You see that Durga Devi carries a trident. उनके पास एक त्रिशूल है. त्रिशूल मीन्स जिसमें 3 शूल है. शूल मतलब जिससे कि चुभता है वो. हमें जब दुर्गा देवी ये त्रिशूल से मारती है तो हमें चुभता है. तो वो त्रिशूल क्या है? वो त्रिशूल है the misery is coming out of our own body and mind. Misery is coming out of the other living beings, and the miseries which are coming due to the influence of higher powers. So that trident or trishul of Maya Devi can be experienced by us. We stay in state. If we are outside the jail, we stay in state. So stay in state is staying in spiritual world. Laws of state are laws of nature, laws of spirituality, laws of religion like Sanatan Vedic Dharma. So those laws actually govern what can be considered as a criminal activity. There is a law. Stealing is a criminal activity. Murdering is a criminal activity. Similarly, there are laws of nature, laws of God. God has made certain laws. If we violate those laws, then we will end up in prison house of this material world, material body. And Prime Minister of State, sometimes he comes to jail and sees that everything is all right. Punishment to criminals are given, and the release from this jail is mukti from this material body. So sometimes the king of the state, or sometimes ये राष्ट्रपति जो होते हैं, राष्ट्रपति sometimes can give release from the prison house because of the good behavior of the jail inmate. So release is like getting rid of birth, old age, disease, death, mukti. So that release is possible, and prime minister or president of the state can be compared to God. So God can give us release from this prison house of body, material body. So when we want to connect to our spiritual life, spiritual existence, we have to get rid of this jail. So we have to know who is that president who can release us, and what are his laws, and how can he release us, by what behavior he can release us. So that's why connecting to spiritual power is necessary. Connecting to spiritual power will give us release, the method of release, what things we have to follow to get release. So now we saw material body and spiritual body. Material body, how can we get relief from material body, what are the problems of material body, and how are we spiritual in nature. We saw that part, and how spirit soul, which is spiritual in nature, we, all of us, how we landed up in situation of material body, and we are only experiencing the living of jail or living of this material world, and we are lost in the spiritual world. We don't know what, just like a jail inmate, a criminal who is imprisoned, he doesn't know what is happening in the state, what is happening outside, how people are enjoying. He doesn't have conception because he is in jail. Similarly, we don't know who is God. We can't see what is happening in spiritual reality. We can't connect it to the spiritual world or spiritual existence, because we are in this temporary miserable material body, and we are in material consciousness. So now the next thing is material world versus spiritual world. In Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic literatures also, there is mention of spiritual world. Actually, there exists a spiritual reality. So it is explained in the 15th chapter that Urdhva Moolam Adhashakam Ashwatham Prahuravyayam. There is a tree, Ashwatha means Ashwatha means people ka vriksha, banyan tree. So this banyan tree is explained, and it is said that Urdhva Moolam Adhashakam. This banyan tree is, its roots are upwards and the trunk is downwards. The tree is downwards and the roots are upwards. We have never seen such a tree where the roots are upwards and the branches are downwards. Actually, this tree can be seen in a reflection in water, as it is shown in the slide. That tree, actual tree, the reflection in water looks Urdhva Moolam Adhashakam, means the roots look to be upwards and the branches look to be downwards. So similarly, the spiritual world is there like a tree, and this material world and its experiences are like the reflection of the same tree in the water. So what we are experiencing now is that reflection. We are actually in that reflection, but we want to really go to the spiritual reality and enjoy. Suppose there is a mango tree and there are mangoes. Can we enjoy the reflected mango in the water? We can't. Actually, we can search out happiness for so many millions of births in that reflection mango, but we will never be satisfied. So therefore, we understand that there is reality somewhere. The mango in the reflection is seen because there is a real mango in its real form in the real tree. So in real tree, our hankerings to eat the mango is the hankering of eating it actually in the real tree. our expectation of happiness is there for the mango in the real mango, not in the this reflection mango. Similarly, our expectation of happiness within, or the peace within, that expectation, we can only get complete fulfillment of that expectation if we connect to the spiritual world or spiritual power. If we do not connect to spiritual power, our experience would be like, sometimes it is explained in scriptures that just like in a desert, a drop of water is also precious, and a person who is very thirsty, with a drop of water he feels, you know um, he feels the thirst more. Similarly, in this world, when we try to satisfy our need of drinking, need of happiness, that happiness cannot be completely fulfilled in material world, because it is kind of desert. In a desert, a single drop of water cannot quench the thirst of a person. It will increase the thirst all more. Similarly, in this material world, we see that whatever we may obtain as a material object, our thirst goes on increasing. So spiritual world is the world where our thirst of happiness will be completely fulfilled. Our material body is simply a bad copy of our spiritual body, like a reflection. And therefore, we have to connect and go back to our spiritual body and its consciousness in order to really connect to the spiritual power. So therefore, subsequently, the material and happiness and spiritual happiness, as I told, that the material happiness is temporary. This verse very nicely explains this material happiness conception. Bahya sparsheshu asakta atma vindati atmani yat sukham sa brahma yoga yuktatma sukham akshayam ashnute. So this material spiritual happiness is explained as the happiness which is unlimited, and material happiness is explained to be limited. So just like a fish cannot be happy outside the water, similarly outside spiritual reality, outside spiritual world, outside spiritual power, whatever we may be given, we will never be happy. So the point, this particular point, we have to understand what is material happiness. Material happiness is the happiness which is obtained by combination of material senses and its objects. So ye hi samsparshaja bhogaha. This verse is not written on the screen, but this verse is from Bhagavad Gita. Ye hi samsparshaja bhogaha dukkhayonaya evate adyantavantah kaunteya na teshu ramate buddhaha. So the verse meaning goes like this, that the material happiness is obtained by combination of objects of the senses and the senses. So senses, material bodily senses, when they come in touch with the object of enjoyment, object of the sense, then by this contact, yehi samsparsha, samsparsha means contact, samsparshaja bhogaha means the enjoyments which come out of such samsparsha or touch of sense object with sense. Dukkha yonaya evate, they only give rise to unhappiness ultimately. Dukkha yonaya evate. Just like we eat something, it gives happiness for some time, some little amount of time, but then we go on eating, our happiness gets reduced more and more. Then we can eat, say we eat a gulab jamun once, twice, thrice, 4, 5. After that, our happiness to eat gulab jamun becomes nullified. It stops. So it is adyantavantah, adi antavantah, means it has beginning and it has end. It is temporary. The sense of happiness stays there for some time and it goes away. Adyantavantah kaunteya. Sa na teshu ramate buddhaha. Buddha means intelligent person, doesn't take that happiness to be serious. He doesn't take part in that happiness, as it is said. So material happiness is that kind of happiness where it is temporary. It is, it stays there for momentarily. It is there for a limited quantity and limited amount of time. And then it ends up in misery. It says, Bhagavad Gita says, so whatever you eat, ultimately you have to
Sometimes it becomes digested, it doesn't digest. If it doesn't digest, there is misery. Even if it is digesting, ultimately it gives something to the material body, and then material body itself is temporary and it will die. And sometimes if we overeat for enjoyment, then we become diseased. So therefore ultimately death stops all kinds of enjoyments. So therefore, or disease or an old age stops everything. So it is unhappy situation ultimately. अंतवन दिस यही संस्पर्शजा भोगाः दुःख योनय एवते. दुःख योनयः मीन्स दुःख उत्पन्न जिससे होता है. So ultimately this material happiness ends up in miseries, in trouble. Because suppose you earn everything in this material world, when actually you are having a lot of facilities earned through your hard work, at the time of death it will be all the more difficult to give up all of these, because we feel that we have earned them with our hard work. So we become really deeply attached, and then when at the time of death everything in a flash is taken away, we become really unhappy. So ultimately material happiness is unhappiness. But on the spiritual side, the spiritual happiness is bahya sparsheshu asaktatma. Bahya sparsha, again that touch with sense objects, that touch, the happiness of coming out of that material connection, bahya sparsha asaktatma, really one who is detached. Asakta means not asakta. Asakta means he is detached. The spiritual person who is oriented towards soul, he is detached from that material happiness. Why? Because Vindati Atmani Yat Sukham. He is connecting to spiritual power and experiencing a sense of great spiritual happiness. Sa Brahma Yoga Yuktatma. Brahma Yoga means when you are attached to your own spirit soul and the supreme spirit soul, God. Brahma Yoga means connecting to soul as well as super soul. When one is connected and situated on that platform, that connection gives you sukham and happiness. And what is kind of happiness? Akshayam, unending happiness. Akshayam ashnute, sukham akshayam ashnute. So therefore spiritual happiness is unending. Any experience that stays for some time cannot be called completely spiritual happiness, because spiritual happiness means unending. Once it starts, it never ends. It is that kind of happiness. So when we, what is the symptom of actually connecting to spiritual power and actually experiencing a spiritual happiness? That happiness, that state of happy consciousness will never end. It is unlimited, unending happiness. So just imagine what kind of happiness it must be, what kind of ecstasy, what kind of joy it must be, a spiritual happiness. What kind of promise is there in spiritual connection, or when we connect to a spiritual power, what happiness we get is unlimited. We can't imagine. So what is the source of that happiness? How can we obtain, how can we connect to that happiness? So there is this serving the whole, this conception is there. Actually, we are trying to serve the parts. We are not trying to serve the whole. That's why everything fails. So there is a small story in this regard. Once there was a strike of all the bodily senses: hands, legs, mouth, eyes, ears, and mind. Everybody was thinking that why should we work hard and provide everything to the stomach? Legs said we are walking so much, hands said we are working every day so much, and eyes said we see so many things, and we try to mind and brain says we analyze everything, and then nose says I am smelling, ears say I am hearing, that's why everything is working in the body. But stomach, what it is doing? It is not, it is just sitting and it's only eating. So they said that we will not give anything to stomach. We will stop feeding stomach. So all the senses went on strike. What would have happened ultimately? When you stop giving food to the stomach, apparently stomach is not doing anything. But actually stomach is doing everything, because stomach is the source of energy which is extracted out of the food. It is the source of energy to the body. So when the senses stopped giving everything, they started to suffer, because they understood that ultimately we are becoming weaker and weaker and weaker, and we are malnourished, and we are exhausted, and we are out of our energies, and now we can no longer live. Then they understood that the source of everything, energy, is there in the stomach, in the digestion. That work is most important work. All the health is because of digestion. If the digestion goes bad, then the health goes bad. Therefore, it is a very important invisible activity to the external senses. Similarly, when we connect to the spiritual power, automatically everything becomes nourished. Whether it is material body, or whether it is gross or subtle body, or whether this world and its experience of happiness and unhappiness. Everything depends on source, spirit, soul, and spiritual power. Similarly, all the parts of the tree are nourished by watering the root. So this verse comes in again Vedic literature, that Narad Muni says this particular verse. It says that just like a tree, when the water is given to the root of the tree, then all the parts of the tree trupyanti tat skandha bhujopashakhaha pranopaharaschya yathendriyanam tasmat sarvarhanam achyutejya. Narad Muni says that just like you give water to the root of the tree, the full tree, its branches, its twigs, its leaves, its everything gets nourished. Similarly, when we put food in the stomach, automatically all bodily parts get refreshed. They become happy, they become nourished. Similarly, serving the spiritual power automatically makes us happy. So there is no need of providing food externally to the senses. We don't put food in the nose. We don't put food into the ears. We don't put food into skin. Or we don't give separate water to leaves, separate water to branch, separate water to the trunk of the tree. We give water to the root of the tree. Similarly, the root of the existence is spiritual. Therefore, when we satisfy spirit soul and supreme spirit soul, we get happiness, by which everything becomes good, everything becomes auspicious, everything becomes happy. But when we try to only serve our material body, then we are trying to give water to the branches of the tree or leaves of the tree, and then we are not becoming happy. But when we serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the soul, supreme soul, then we can automatically become happy. Just like fingers can become the part of the body like finger can become happy by serving the stomach. By using the fingers for serving the stomach, the fingers also become nourished and they become happy. Similarly, the soul, which is part of supreme soul, when we satisfy the supreme soul, supreme Lord, then automatically the soul becomes happy. So sometimes this analogy of a father and a lost child of the father is given. If at a very tender age, where we cannot live without our parents, if we are lost from our parents, then what would happen? Even if a millionaire father, if his son is lost, then both of them cannot be happy. The son cannot be happy. What is the solution? Providing food to the son is a solution, or providing some good clothes is a solution, or reuniting that boy with his millionaire father is solution. Similarly, we are lost to the spiritual world. We are lost. We don't know our real spiritual father. We have lost from our supreme controller father, supreme millionaire father, who's a source of everything, controller of everything, God. We are lost from God, although we are son of God. God is God has everything. God has all power. God is proprietor, enjoyer, and He is the owner of everything. But we are struggling to earn money. We are struggling to keep ourselves fit and fine. We are struggling to maintain ourselves. This is because we have lost our connection to such a powerful Father. So when we reunite with our Father, it is like reconnecting to our spiritual existence or spiritual power. Now the next point, relationships. Sometimes there is a misconception that when we are connecting to spiritual power, we lead a spiritual life of certain spiritual rules and regulations, then whether we have to leave our relationships in this world, whether we have to leave our mother, father, whether we have to leave our house and all relationships, whether we have to leave our family, whether we have to leave our wife or children. So that conception is there, that spiritual life or connecting to spiritual power means leaving everything, leaving all relationship. But it is not like that. Material relationships are temporary bodily relationships. Spiritual relationships are immortal, which go beyond body. Like our Supreme Father, Krishna says that I am Mata Dhata Pitamaha. I am the mother, father and the grandfather of all living beings. So Krishna is Supreme Father. Whether we are in this body or we are in a cow's body, dog's body, soul, wherever it goes, Krishna is always his father, because Krishna is spiritual father. Krishna is spiritual mother. God is spiritual mother and spiritual father. And he is also grandfather. He is everything. So Krishna is really spiritually our father or mother, everything to us. That is spiritual relationship which stays even after death. But do we remember our relationship in the previous birth? Who was my father in the previous birth? Who is going to be my father in the next birth? Who is going to be my mother, my wife or my husband in the next birth? We don't know, because these are temporary material relationships. They are gone when our connection to the material body is gone. But spiritual relationship stays there. So for living or connecting to spiritual power, we need to develop relationships which are spiritually based. That means we don't cut away our material relationships, but we spiritualize our relationship. We make our material, seemingly material relationship into a spiritual relationship. How do we do that? We do that by seeing everybody in spiritual vision. Like it is said in Bhagavad Gita, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapakecha Panditaha Samadarshinaha. So that means that a person who is in spiritual consciousness, a Panditaha, very learned person, how does he see everybody? He sees Vidya Vinaya Sampanna Brahman, means very elevated, highly learned, highly well behaved. A Brahman means a very knowledgeable person. Such a person, or Gavi means a cow, or Hasti means an elephant, Shuni means a dog, or Shwapacha means a dog eater. All of them, a person in divine consciousness who can see the spirituality, he sees all of them equally. How he sees all of them equally? Because he sees not the material body, but he sees the spirit soul within. So he knows that whether it is in cow's body, dog's body, dog eater's body, elephant's body, a Brahmana's body, all of them are spirit souls. So when we see all our father, husband, mother, everybody, wife, everyone, children, we see from spiritual perspective, not bodily perspective, then we are spiritualizing our relationship. We know they are also part and parcel of Krishna, and they also need to be getting out of birth, old age, disease, death, and we help them spiritually. We give them material things, we give them food, but we don't simply give them food, we give them spiritualized food. We don't simply give them knowledge to earn money, but we give them knowledge to re-spiritualize themselves, reconnect to spiritual power. So we become spiritually situated in our relationships. In fact, all our relationships are existing in spiritual world also. So when we go back to the spiritual reality, spiritual world, at that time, if we have kept a spiritual relationship, our dependents or the people who can re-spiritualize their existence and connect to spiritual power, they can remain connected in a spiritual relationship in spiritual world also. Therefore, even after death, one stays connected to spiritual relationships. So it's like both of us friends, they were studying in our native place, and then both of us grown and then went to the foreign country. Both of us went to same foreign country. Now we have ability to connect to each other in that same friendly relationship even in that country. Similarly, if we connect so deeply in this world spiritually with other person, then both of us can remain connected even after birth, even after death. So that is spiritual relationship. So we connect to spiritual relationships. So from shadow to spirit, or from material power to spiritual power, how one can make a transition. This path is spiritual life, or how we can connect to spiritual life. So within remaining 5 minutes, we'll try to connect. We will try to see how we can connect. What is the process of connecting to the spiritual power? This is very nicely explained in Bhagavad Gita as an essence. It is there in Vedic literatures. It is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is there in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. It is there in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat. It is there in Puranas. But the essence of everything, of connecting to spiritual power, is especially explained very nicely in Bhagavad Gita. So this verse, how one can shift his attention from shadow to spirit, to connect to spiritual power. Kayena manasa buddhya kevalaihi indriyairapi yoginah karma kurvanti sangam tyaktva atma shuddhaye. How do we live in this world when we are living in this material body? How we are saying that we disconnect from this material body for connecting to spiritual power. So that disconnection doesn't mean that we stop doing our activities. We stop using our bodily limbs. We forget body. It's not like that. What we do is we follow a path of yoga where the yogis, abandoning attachment, act with body, mind and intelligence, and even with the senses only for the purpose of purification. Sangam tyaktva atma shuddhaye. We need purification, as we brought out that we are dragged down in material body because we have so many anarthas within our heart. Within our mind there is lust, greed, anger, illusion, envy, pride. All these are diseases. This material body has come up as a imposition of birth, old age, disease, death, because we have these diseases. So as long as these diseases are not cured, then we can't get a spiritual connection. We can't go back to spiritual world. So for that, we need a path of purification. We need to purify from lust, greed, anger, etc. So that path of purification is by using this material body, whether it is gross body or the subtle body of mind, intelligence and ego and the senses, we must all in yogic path abandon all the attachment to pride, lust, greed, anger, etc. and use this body for serving God in such a way that we get purified from our misconceptions. So our here in this verse, how we connect to spiritual power? By using our body for the purpose of purification from lust, greed, anger, etc. So, tad buddhaya tadatmanah tannistha tatparayanaha gachanti apunaravrittim jnana nirdhuta kalmasha. When one's intelligence, mind, faith and refuge means taking shelter. Faith means that unflinching, sense of belief in supreme spiritual power. That faith, all of that is fixed in the supreme, in God, in spirit. That faith, that surrender should happen. If one surrenders his intelligence, mind, faith and refuge and becomes fixed in supreme, then one becomes fully cleansed of misgivings. So whatever is not required, this punishment of body, all this is misgiving. All lust, greed, anger are misgiving. All of them are cleansed through complete knowledge and thus proceed straight on the path of liberation. So this is the path of liberation, connecting to the spiritual power, getting liberated from material consciousness. This is possible by connecting to supreme spiritual power, Krishna or God, and not being haunted by shadow. We will be disturbed by this material body. It will drag us, it will attract us to something which is not required, which is against our spiritual principle. So what are those things which need to be avoided is given here. And how one can stay even within this body, one can connect to spiritual power. Even within this body, one can connect to spiritual power and stay happy forever. So that path of happiness is given here. Shaknoti ihaiva yah sodhum praksharira vimokshanat kama krodhodbhavam vegam sayuktah sasukhi naraha. Before giving up this present body, if one is able to tolerate the urges of material senses, now these senses are there. Sense of touch, sense of taste, sense of hearing, sense of smell, sense of seeing. All these senses will always drag us to material world. But we want to connect to spiritual world, we have to go inside in our spiritual existence. Then we should not be disturbed by these external material senses. And we should be able to check those forces which drag us into the material desire and anger. Lust, greed, anger. We should stop, kind of getting disturbed by this. Then we will be well situated and happy in this world. It's not by going chasing our material sense objects. It's by actually stopping getting disturbed around those material objects, we can become happy. So we must purify ourselves of these 6 anarthas, and then we will be gradually happy. We should glorify God with our hearts through chanting of His holy names. If we do not serve God, we will serve the anarthas like lust, pride, etc. So therefore, ultimately, to connect to spiritual reality, power, even within this body, while living in this body, while living in this material world, one can connect to the spiritual world. Just like we connect to some distant friend through a telephone call. Similarly, we can actually connect to spiritual reality by the legitimate, bona fide way which is given by God Himself to connect Him. So to connect to God, God has mercifully given us His holy names through scriptures. So it is said in the scriptures, Kali Santaran Upanishad and other, Puranas and Upanishads, there this method of connecting to spiritual power is given. The method of purification which we were saying is given. That purification method is chanting of the holy names for this Kali Yuga especially. Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Eva Kevalam, Kalau Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva Gatiranyata. This means chanting of the holy names of Lord Hari, Harer Nama, Harihi Nama. Harihi means Krishna or Vishnu or Ram. All these are Lord's names. So these names, only these names, chanting of these names only. It is said thrice, Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama. Thrice, Kevalam. Only Harer Nama. Why do we say anything thrice? Because we want to emphasize that this is true. This is only true. Kevalam means this only is the path. Kalau Nastyeva. Kalau means in this age of Kali, there is no other method. No other method. No other method. Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva. Gati Anyatha. So legitimate bona fide way of connecting to spiritual power, really speaking, the most bona fide, the most powerful, the most amazing, most quickly result giving method of connecting to spiritual world is this chanting of the holy names. And therefore we should chant these holy names, this Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Iti Shodashakanamnah Kali Kalmashanashanam Natah Paratara Upayah Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. All the Vedas, if we see, then Lord Brahma has said that even though one sees knowledge from all the Vedas, then also there is no better method than chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. There is no other method which is more powerful. Than the chanting of the holy names.